Right on. Good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah. I'm sorry I'm a bit under the weather, but we got Ryan, Ryan of the UW Blockchain Club. Ryan, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And Ryan, before we get started, do you want to give us a quick background of yourself, what you're currently studying, what piqued your interest in Web3, and how you plan on bridging your studies, your academic career with your future Web3 aspirations?
Yeah, my name is Ryan. Currently a student at the University of Washington studying economics, finance, and data science. Um, First got into crypto in 2015, 2016, mining ETH on my home rig. I couldn't open a Coinbase account or have any other way of accessing Ethereum or Bitcoin at the time, so the only way to kind of get involved was to mine, and that's what I did for like a year or 2 years. Um, Briefly joined a crypto hedge fund in 2018, 2019, and actually took a break from crypto between like 2019 and 2021-ish, and went into like the bioinformatics space pretty deeply. Um, but this past year, I took a gap year, kind of went back deep into crypto, and yeah, and am helping leading the UW Blockchain Club now.
Got it. And so that's cool. You were mining ETH on a home rig back in 2015, 2016. How did you learn how to build a rig?
Um, it was just like my gaming desktop rig, so it was a good way to take my parents' power bill and translate that into some Ethereum. It was nothing special, but I think I had an AMD graphics card, which has happened to be pretty good at mining. Um, yeah.
Got it. So back when mining was pretty easy, you didn't build some crazy rig. I was imagining that you were just in your parents' garage building this massive rig mining Ethereum, but you're doing it on basically a PC game,
Yeah,
PC lap,
yeah.
PC console. Got it. Okay, so crypto hedge fund in 2019, 2020. Tell us a bit about that. What was that experience like?
Yeah, it wasn't like a quant trading fund. It was more of like a thesis driven uh long short funds. So like some, without kind of saying too much, like you want to kind of take the best L1 that you like and maybe short the L1 that you're not so excited about, and try to create some pseudo delta neutral trades so that you can be kind of risk neutral if the market goes up or down together. But like if your L1, if your chosen L1 outperforms your one that you're shorting, then you'll make some money. Yeah, not sure what else to say there. I
Sorry. It looks like I wasn't able to hit my mute button or my unmute button. So you're working on building UW Blockchain Society now, and tell us a bit about the Blockchain Society's origins. When did it start? How long has it been around?
Yeah, so it started in, I believe, 2017. A guy named Zach. I think we were actually one of the first blockchain clubs in the US. Really just a bunch of like people interested in like building and interested in like crypto. And they wanted to have like a tri-campus club because UW has like three campuses, one in Seattle, one in Bothell, one in Tacoma. And we wanted to have like a way for like people to talk about crypto without just talking about like uh, hourly price movements, and like actually talk about like the fundamental tech side of crypto in some sort of college club setting. So that's kind of how it spawned in 2017. In 2017 to 2018, that sort of school academic year, um, we held more club meetings. We held some like workshops, and people around the Seattle area came in and gave talks. We also hosted the 2018 UW Blockchain Expo, which was, I believe, like one of the first like college kind of blockchain expos where people from industry kind of around the nation, I think there was some international as well, kind of came in and gave some great talks. And it was really focused around education, especially in the early days. And I think now we still really are focusing on education. Like we have maybe three to five workshops per quarter. So because we're on the quarter system, because we're on the quarter system, that's about once every like 10 weeks is the quarter. So maybe like once every other week we have a speaker or someone come in and talk about different projects that they're working on or different things to learn about and to get excited about.
That's awesome. Okay, and how big is the club? How many members?
Yeah, so I think on Discord, as many others can probably relate, it's a much more inflated number. So I think we have like 500 to 600 people in our Discord, but in terms of like active weekly students coming to meetings, it's somewhere between like 20 and 40, I would say. So somewhere around that scale.
Got it. And you guys are recognized by the university, correct?
Yeah, so we started as an RSO, like a general RSO. We were a registered nonprofit, and now I think we just got accepted to like the computer science school. So we're like one of the few clubs under the computer science like official RSO list.
That's awesome. And you know, the speakers that you guys bring in for these workshops every quarter, to 3 to 5 workshops every quarter, have you brought on people that are leaders in the industry, or just students that are building in the industry?
Yeah, we definitely try to aim for mentors that have probably like a little bit more experience either operating or investing. Some people that we've brought in this quarter include uh, Avichal Garg from Electric Capital. So I think they run like a $1.1 billion fund. And then we also recently brought in the head of developer relations from Axelar, another pretty big Web3 cross messaging protocol. So that was really cool to see like um, some deep dives and some new things that these projects are developing, and trying to onboard new developers from universities like us to help build on their platform.
And what are you guys' goals for the blockchain society going forward? Right, where do you see yourselves in 3 to 4 years? I know that you might not be a student there anymore, but how big do you want it to be? What kind of influence do you want it to have on campus? Do you guys want to design your own course at some point and teach other students? So would love to hear some more insight into that.
Yeah, sort of all of the above. I think in terms of trying to get an accredited blockchain class, I think that's something that we definitely want to do. I think it's something that we actually had because there was a professor that um, out of UW that actually started his own blockchain project that previously taught a class. But getting all that paperwork, especially at a public university, is often very long, very arduous. But that's something that we're definitely talking to administrators about. In terms of more shorter term goals, we are hosting another expo similar to what we did in 2018, uh, another blockchain type expo in spring of this quarter. So around May-ish, I believe, we are going to do something like a smaller scale of what Penn recently did. I think I saw you guys on Twitter that attended there. So it's like a smaller scale of that. And I think what we really want to do is really kind of create an everlasting culture and like not have the club sort of die after the four years happens and like that cohort of friends graduates. And we think that it's really important to kind of create like a culture of like building and a culture of just people interested in crypto in a really cool space for people to get together and talk about all things crypto.
Absolutely. And so, what are the strategies you guys are using to get some more of that student base to join the club, especially with the society, especially freshmen and sophomore?
Yeah, so we're definitely doing all the standard things. Like we have an RSO fair uh, in the first week of school in October. We also have, I believe, another RSO fair the first week of winter quarter. So that was in January. So that's a really good way to bring on kind of more freshmen and sophomore people, people that don't have immediate exposure to the club. I think we're also trying to think about onboarding um, through other clubs.
Hello? Hey, Acti, you there? Not sure if
Yeah,
Ryan.
I can hear you. I think Ryan's
Okay,
having a connection issue. Yeah.
got it, got it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, my
Hey, Ryan.
yeah, sorry, my Twitter time limit like screen time thing went off, so I had to ignore that for today. Um, yeah, so we're just trying to either talk with like do RSO fairs, like club fairs, and also talk with other clubs on campus that are interested in crypto that don't know too much about crypto, like finance clubs or like general computer science clubs, startup clubs, and things of that nature to kind of really bridge that gap and provide a space for resources for these other students to go out to.
I love it. Okay, so you guys are young, but you're growing fast. What's the sentiment like when you're out there trying to attract new students, trying to spread the word of Web3? What's the sentiment like towards this industry, especially with all the nonsense that's happened over the last year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot of skepticism. Some of it is definitely healthy, especially in the past few months. Um, but I think of the people that are perhaps a little bit more risk on and are a little bit more like tend more towards startups. I think like people are pretty open minded about crypto, and the sentiment is actually um, pretty healthy in terms of the number of people and like the amount of passion that they show, and they're really uh, here for like the long term and not in it for like the next 1 or 2 months.
Got it. Okay. Um, so look, Ryan, I wanted to cover everything that we could about UW blockchain. Is there anything at all that you find exciting to share or that I might have missed that's important to discuss? Otherwise, we can move on to the next part of the broadcast.
I think you've definitely hit upon the main parts. Yeah, I think for us, it's really about creating something that lasts beyond our kind of four years in college. I think that like we've seen a lot of clubs around the U.S. do like a good job of kind of creating these like structures and like these leadership structures and advisors and mentors for these clubs to last a lot longer because we think that crypto is going to be here for a long time. We want to have kind of a club that suits that ethos.
Beautifully put. Okay. So look, you're studying econ. You said you're doing data science as well. When you graduate, I'm gonna go ahead and assume you want to work in Web3. You want to have a career in Web3. What are you interested in? Do you want to go work for another company? Do you want to start your own thing?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely still exploring now. Um, I could definitely see myself doing kind of either one of those things. Um, yeah, I think because crypto and Web3 is so interdisciplinary that like it takes a lot of different disparate skills to really excel at crypto. I think that everyone can find their niche. I think the niche for me is definitely perhaps a little bit more towards like the DeFi or like infrastructure or tokenomics side. Um, but I think what crypto has really kind of pushed for me is that like opening my eyes and opening my horizons to like different aspects that speak to different kind of subsets of people like the NFT community or like other sorts of kind of sub industries within crypto.
Understood. Okay. Um, and let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on? Well, let me take a step back. Um, and excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather, so not my usual self. But I wanted to know what you think about this industry going forward as a place where you could really build out a career. Do you think that we're going to continue to grow in a way that Web3 becomes as dominant and as intertwined in people's lives as Web2? And if so, what do you think needs to happen in order to see that mass adoption?
Yeah, I think that's a great question and definitely the $1 billion question. Um, I think people might underestimate today uh, how slow and perhaps semi painful the next 6 to 12 months will be. I think crypto is perhaps tied to macro and interest rates a lot more than people think. So things could get like the sentiment could definitely change. I think the sentiment is still pretty good in crypto today, but I'm not sure where it'll be in the next 6 to 12 months. Um, in terms of mass adoption, I think that a world in which crypto succeeds is a world in which barely anyone knows or like realizes that they're using kind of crypto economic structures or crypto in the first place. And I think that we're a long way from kind of realizing that dream. But I think that um, I think that people really do underestimate how long it takes for uh, kind of like the research, all the research and all of the industry to develop, like the internet, like AI. I think that people really do underestimate how long these things take.
Absolutely. So let's do a fun Q&A part of the broadcast that I enjoy. And remember, audience members, everything is meant to be taken for research purposes only. Nothing's financial advice. But let's start with the OG, Ryan. Let's start with Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin? Do you see it being the dominant crypto asset for the foreseeable future, or do you see it eventually being flipped by another asset? And if so, what?
Hmm. Yeah, I think about this a lot. I think that obviously not financial advice, but I think that people generally want to hold productive assets. And I think that Bitcoin has served a very unique skeuomorphic form of a digital representation of gold, but I'm not so sure about its long-term viability. Not to say that no one can continue to make money off of Bitcoin or Bitcoin like won't exist, but I'm not sure in terms of like flipping or ETH flipping Bitcoin or some other token or protocol flipping Bitcoin. I think that's highly possible, if not the base case that one should expect the next 5 to 10 years.
Fair, good answer. Ethereum, what are your thoughts on ETH? And I'm talking about an ETH that has sharding implemented and is really serving as a layer of proofs while transactions are executed on highly scalable rollups. What are your thoughts on the future of ETH?
Yeah, like another great question that I've talked to a few friends about recently. Um, I think that a lot of like ETH has definitely hit some sort of network effect or mindshare effect. And I think the best tell for that is that all the innovation, all the things that are happening from like zero to one, all the new things are generally happening on Ethereum, whether that's new protocols or new papers being written. I think that like all the really smart developers and really smart researchers um like definitely flock to ETH and flock to like um kind of analyzing those data sets. That's not to say that this network effect is like impenetrable, but I think that it's highly possible that ETH has um, kind of reached a point where it might become like the JavaScript um, of Web3, where not everyone agrees with every original design decision, but there'll be so many libraries and so many um, things built on top of Ethereum that it will be hard to um, sort of migrate away in the long term. And yeah.
Absolutely, it has that network effect. So, Ryan, NFTs. What are some industries that you see NFTs disrupting the most? And let's skip gaming, art, music, because we've already kind of seen that shift begin. But I would love to know where you think NFTs are really going to change the way that businesses operate.
Yeah. I think that the only true product market fit that NFTs have had so far is probably profile pictures, which is like a pretty big space, and it's something that uh, is definitely admirable by the NFT space. But in terms of new use cases, um, I I'm less bullish than a lot of others on using NFTs to tackle super highly regulated industries like housing, like like mortgages, like or things of that real world nature. I think that stuff can happen and perhaps should happen, but I think those time scales are super super long and super um, a lot of uncertainty in terms of the regulatory environment. In terms of more digitally native things, I think one use case that I've been looking at personally with NFTs is using NFTs as like digital real estate. Um, so, um, say like the Google homepage, like I think on like holidays or certain events, like Google changes their logo. So like having a way to kind of embed and sell that digital real estate as an NFT is like a use case that I'm perhaps more bullish on than some others.
That's certainly an interesting answer, and I can see where you're coming from on that end. Ryan, let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on centralized entities in the space? What do you think is going to happen when DeFi becomes more mature? When transactions on DeFi become faster, and when a lot of the components or a lot of the advantages that sexes usually or typically have today are ones that we see through all DeFi applications. Do you think that centralized exchanges will disappear entirely, or centralized entities will disappear entirely, or do you think that they will always have a place in this industry?
I think for the foreseeable future, they'll always have a place in at the very least, the on-off ramp industry, like your Coinbases, like any sort of institution that bridges fiat and crypto. I think that as you hit network effects in crypto, even within a decentralized exchange, like there's still some market forces that want these entities to kind of become more centralized. I think we'll see some really interesting things the next 2 to 3 years, especially with Uniswap. Um, as they try to move upstream, I think Uniswap recently released an NFT aggregator platform on their website, and there's rumors that there's supposed to be like a Uniswap for that you KYC into, similar to Coinbase, and a Uniswap that you can use in a decentralized manner, and the KYC manner will have tighter spreads and better prices. So I think that's something that's definitely on the horizon and is definitely going to be explored. So I think that having an option for a centralized exchange is like not necessarily a bad thing as long as there are legitimate alternatives that people can use in some sort of permissionless manner as well.
Understood. Well, look, Ryan, it's been a great space so far, and we're heading in towards the last part of the segment. I want to know what your thoughts are on the market as a whole going into 2023 and 2024. Do you think we bottomed? Do you think that we kind of can't really see too much more fear unless some other crazy cataclysmic event happens, like Binance blowing up? And then when do you see us going back into full bull mode?
Um, I think I alluded to this a little bit before, but I think that crypto has basically been a liquidity function, basically up until this point from 20. We've seen that from 2010 ish to sort of 2020, and then when COVID happened, we saw this massive stimulus, lower interest rates. I think that crypto was really that sponge that kind of accepted all this money, was really like the asset on the farthest right part of the risk curve. And I think that in the next 2 years, um, I'm not sure if we hit the bottom yet, but I think that if crypto really truly is going to be its own independent asset class, these next 2 years will either show it or it won't show it. And I think that we'll have some really good indicators and some really good, hopefully some really good products, indicators, and other sorts of things to kind of inform people's thoughts and decisions about crypto for the long term.
Mm-hmm. And which side of that coin do you think it's going to fall on, the industry, in your opinion?
I think especially with the amount of time that I spend in crypto, I hope it's on the up and up and everything goes well in the next 5 to 10 years. And I truly do think that crypto can fulfill its original promise of kind of self-sovereignty and all the other aspects of crypto that people cite that they want to embody for crypto.
Sure. Last question for you, Ryan, before we wrap things up. What are some dApps or some, I don't know, DeFi applications or NFT projects? What's in the space right now that really excites you?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely less in touch with the NFT community. I think there are some really cool projects and cool experiments at the very least there, because I think that there's so like the design space for NFTs is like barely scratched the surface. I think that in terms of projects that I'm looking at right now, I think they're mostly infrastructure type projects, so things that are perhaps a little bit less sexy to most people. So projects including like Eigenlayer, which allows validators to not only secure smart contracts, but allows them to secure other forms of liquidity through like bridging or other sorts of like core infrastructure. I think is missing today that we will need in the next 5 to 10 years if crypto is to succeed.
Beautifully put. Well, look, Ryan, it's been a pleasure hosting you today. I know it's Friday, so I want to let you get an early start to your weekend. But if there's anything you want to share with us or any questions you have for me, go ahead and do so. Go ahead and ask or share so now.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great chatting today. Definitely check out UW blockchain, and yeah, I'd love to ask how you got into crypto and what excites you about crypto in the next 5 to 10 years.
Hey, thanks, man. And thanks for bearing with me. I'm really under the weather. What got me into crypto was really just I was working at a tech job. I wasn't making a lot of money, or at least as much money as I wanted to. No one in my family had ever taught me about investing, right? Everyone was super, I'm an immigrant family, so everyone's super save your money, put it in the bank, don't put it in the stock market. It's a casino. But I really wanted to learn more about how to build wealth, accrue wealth, make money while I sleep. And so at first I was looking at the stock market, and a buddy of mine said, "Hey, you should go research this thing called Bitcoin." And so I went in September 2017. I went, sat down at the library of a law school that one of my friends was going to at the time, and he was working on his homework. I was just watching a bunch of videos on Bitcoin, and I spent one evening, about 6-7 hours, reading and learning about how Bitcoin works, and it just clicked to me, man. I bought my first bit of Bitcoin that night, and I've been DCing into Bitcoin and ETH ever since. So what really piqued my interest about this industry was the tech, but really also the opportunity to make good amounts of money if you're and invest in assets that are still relatively low cap and have the potential um, to yield astronomical returns if you pick the right ones. A lot of people say they're not in it for the money; they're in it for the tech, and I'm interested in both. And I really think a lot of people wouldn't be in this space if it wasn't for the financial gain that you could get from getting in early into a lot of these projects. But I think what kept me in the industry was the opportunities that it provided, the people that I met, the ability to be able to work from my computer from anywhere in the world, being able to build businesses, which is what I really do enjoy. I like building early stage startups that are nascent, and doing it doing it in an industry that's also nascent is just icing on the cake. So I was really fortunate to be a part of building a few early startups. Whalecoin Talk was the latest one and the most successful one. So yeah, I mean, I think that crypto taught me a lot about finance. I studied econ as well in college, but I find that being in this industry really taught me a lot about econ that I didn't learn in school. So working with different financial instruments in this industry, whether they're in the form of DeFi apps that I otherwise wouldn't have if I wasn't in the industry, I think those are the things that kept me in, and those are the things that piqued my interest. And watching it grow, and watching some detect ERC 721 NFT be born and be utilized, and then me being able to see the potential that has for video games and asset ownership in a video game is remarkable. So I think that tying it back to what you said earlier, it's very interesting to see how much the space has evolved and how fast it's evolved. And I have a hard time seeing a world. I have a much harder time seeing a world where this technology isn't a part of it than it is. Than it is. So it's an asymmetric bet for me at this point, like you, and I've spent a lot of time on it. But it just makes sense. This Bitcoin makes sense to me. The tokenization of in-game assets for a video game, a popular MMORPG, for example, makes sense to me. And there's a lot of ways to capture value and make things easier with blockchain technology. So yeah, I'm a believer, and I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure if you're going to ETH Denver, but a few of the folks at Yuta Blockchain are going, and would love to meet anyone that goes there.
Absolutely, man. It sounds like everyone's going to ETH Denver this year. We'll see. We'll see if we'll make it out there. We're pretty busy at Whale Coin Talk this year, but I know next year we'll definitely be at ETH Denver. But it seems like that is the spot to be at this year. But I hope you have a great time there, Ryan. And thank you again so much for coming on.
Yep. Thanks for having me on today.
Hey, take care, brother. Whale Coin Talk.